Hello everybody, this is Dark Halo 2012 coming to you from the Prophecy of the Five, and today I'll be bringing you some gameplay on my Sorcerer Carlos Spicy Wiener. Now I do want to apologize for the length of time in between my last video and this one, but I've been kind of busy lately and it's not been the easiest thing for me to actually get in and play, and aside from that, take the time to actually edit a video, which takes me some amount of time. I'm not an expert at editing video yet, so I take my time with it, but I try to put out something halfway decent for you. I'm sure you've noticed I've picked up a new microphone in the last couple videos, and actually have this green screen now. But I'm not trying to make this a professional thing, it's just going to be a hobby for me. In that regard, I'm not going to stress if I don't put out a video every 2-3 days. Maybe once a week you might be able to expect something, maybe every 2. But I'll try to keep something going up there. In regards to the Sorcerer, I have been playing this character for a very long time, and I don't know, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th character I ever made. My Marauder was first, and my Power Tech, and I think the Sorcerer came next. But I guess it's the appeal of the lightning. My first thought though when I played the game was, like many people, hey, I get 2 lightsabers, yay! Well, then I wanted to change it up, try out the Bounty Hunter, they look pretty cool, and switch to the Sorcerer. Gotta love the lightning. You can't play a Star Wars game without spamming some lightning. It's just mandatory, I guess. Well, as far as the specs go, it's interchangeable for me to play Madness and Lightning spec. I have done healing in the past. You know, if I go several games in a row and I just get frustrated because there's no healers, then I'll switch over and maybe do some healing for a game or 2, though I don't prefer to do that. I will typically start off with Madness simply because Madness has a little bit better survivability in solo queue, where oftentimes you won't have a healer. I'd say round about 1/3 of the damage I put out is what my healing's equal to at the end of a match on a Madness sword. Though it does get frustrating because there's not a lot of single target bursts there, so it just feels like some matches I'm not doing anything with it on Madness. It's like I can't kill anybody, especially if the other team has a competent healer. It's damn near impossible. Just, as people say, just fluff damage. The Lightning I think is pretty solid overall. It does have good instances of burst, but there's nothing that hits for maybe 8-9k on that spec, so it's not like overpowered, but it's more like a consistent burst, which is kind of what I like about it. It has its moments, especially whenever you do Thundering Blast and chain out lightning back to back. It's just something very powerful about that, and I really dig the new lightning flash ability that we get. I feel like Thor raining down lightning bolts from heaven. It's pretty cool. Now, as far as the actual gameplay goes here, we probably should have been a little bit more even matched with this game. I'm guessing that the other team just wasn't really familiar with their characters. I did notice there's 3 or 4 assassins on the other team, and maybe it's part of that flavor of the month group. Can't be real sure. But anyway, they didn't play all that well, and that's kind of how we came about getting a much better score at the end here. The score to this game wasn't all that different until they started trying to attack our node, and anyone who has played Hypergates knows that if you die at the opposing team's node, they're going to get a bigger score. I'm not sure if it's 2 or 3 times more than what they would have got if they killed you inside the center area. Any which way, like I said, these gameplays aren't about how well I do or how well the team does. It's about what I mess up on, and that's all I'm trying to do. I don't like to use videos where it kind of makes me look good, but this one really doesn't, and I think it does a good job of pointing out some of my more common mistakes. Now, I had a question in my comments on the last video I put out on my thoughts of what I thought about Sorc healing and mercenary healing. Well, if it was up to me, I would rather heal on a Sorcerer, but I'm more familiar with healing on a Sorcerer at that. However, I do think they have better survivability, and they have a more steady stream of healing. The Mercenary is more bursty type, and their defensive cooldowns aren't all that great. They can't get away from an opponent as easily as a Sorcerer can. And I think that's what I really like about the Sorcerer as far as healing goes. Plus, just the damage mitigation from the bubble. You can now put Culto Shell. Yeah. You can put the Culto Shell on your entire team basically now. So that it's kind of the same thing as the bubble, just one's preventing damage and one's instantly healing damage but both don't require you to be right on top of it. I'd say overall they're pretty equal in healing. If it was like a raid operation or something like that, and I needed a healer to specifically focus on a tank, I would much rather have a mercenary healer, especially if the fight required a lot of burst healing. As far as PvP goes, I think I would rather have the Sorcerer. But the caveat to that is, if you get a really good tank on a mercenary healer, and they're working really well in conjunction with each other, you're going to have a really damn hard time taking down that mercenary. They just have such an ability to stay alive when they get a guard. And they have pretty good base mitigation on their own. They do have that part a little better off than a Sorc, but I would still rather have the force speed, the force barrier, just more constant heals. Like Innervate can be used while you're actually moving on a Sorc, and the Mercenary really doesn't have any really good heals like that it can use on the move. Basically, the Mercenary requires extra attention from your team, which is something that you don't really want to devote to them any more than necessary. But if we're up to me, as far as a healer without a tank, if you're just going to solo queue, I would go with a Sorc over the Mercenary. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure everyone would have their own. Something I'm running into lately with the game is I'm kind of getting a little burnt out on the same old content. It just feels like I'm running circles on a damn hamster wheel. I really hope they give us some new content in the near future. I don't want to say I'm not going to quit the game, because I know that's never going to happen. But at the same time, I will cut back on it until, it feels like I actually have something to play for. Once you play the same maps over and over and over again, you get kind of bored with them pretty quickly. I don't know, it just feels like there should be some extra rewards or something PvP specific that would keep motivating people to play. I see every day on the Prophecy of the 5, I'm sure it's similar on other servers, that there's just a bunch of people leaving the game as far as PvPers, because it's just like I said, it's getting stale. And hopefully they do something with that here pretty soon. Now I'm going to try to vary the characters I play with up here in the near future. I've been thinking about maybe doing like an operative gameplay or something like that. I know there's a lot of other people in the community that try to do operative. I mean, just take like Snave for example. I've seen him play quite a bit. He's a good person to actually watch for the operative gameplay. I'm not real big with the stealth classes. I do enjoy playing them, but I wouldn't say I have nearly the experience I do with a bounty hunter, a sorcerer, or even a marauder. Anyway, I've been thinking about getting back on my marauder and actually trying him out again. I always did play Annihilation and Carnage before. I was never a big fan of Rage, which I don't even know what it's called nowadays. But I've been thinking about maybe getting back on him. I just don't have really the PvP gear on him that I do on some of my other teams. But like I said, I'm not out for the perfect gameplay. Also been thinking about putting a lot more time in my sniper. I used to love my sniper and gunslinger, especially the gunslinger. I prefer the animations in the gunslinger to the sniper. I guess something just about the charge burst that just sounds so good. Anyway, yeah, I'll probably be switching it up here in the near future. I don't want to continually bring you gameplay on the same class over and over. though I am still on my innovative ordnance kick. Still trying to be the best that I can at that class. Well, anyway, guys, I don't really have a lot else to say right now. I just kind of wanted to bring you another gameplay, just kind of keep this channel going. I'm not good at commentary, and I struggle to actually find things to say sometimes, so any suggestion that you guys have as far as subjects for commentary, let me know. Not a big fan of actually just saying what I was doing in the video, because I think I do a decent job of actually pausing and showing what I'm actually doing wrong. So, yeah, like I said, any suggestions you guys have for commentary, just let me know. Well, anyway, and as always, thank you, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.